Scattered showers in North Fort Myers today. Haven't seen any yet. Temperature is in the mid-70s. It's a little cool, but, still shorts and t-shirt weather. I went out and get the mail just a few minutes ago, and it's quite pleasant here in North Fort Myers in the Magnolia Landing on the 6th tee of the Magnolia Landing Golf Course. Welcome to Duncan.com. Good to see you. Top of the morning to you. And I assume you'll let me have the rest of the day for myself. Okay? Hey, I want to talk about three things this morning. I want to talk about, the attitude. The attitude. I was reading an article just now that said that 10,000 people are going to turn 65 years of age on a daily basis. And the idea is that down the road, 20 years, 25 years, whatever it was, there's going to be a lot of old people out there. More old people than young people. So the trend was, starting to turn towards young people. And now us old people, 65 and older, hello, I'm in that category. Thank you very much. Anyway, a lot of people are going to be looking for a place to live, and I'm going to talk about that in another issue. But today I want to talk about some things that happened to me over the weekend that I thought were kind of interesting. Three things. I went to church on Sunday, took my dad to church, and I typically go back in the kitchen area and get a cup of coffee before I sit down. Something interesting happened in the kitchen that I want to talk to you about. That was kind of interesting. And then I read a piece, an article, a written text, whatever, that I thought was awfully good. I want to share that with you. That's about living life. And then I want to talk to you about the rearview mirror in my automobile. So let's get started. Sundays, my days are pretty much structured from, say, when I get up in the morning till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Dad likes to go to church. He's 97 years old. For those of you that don't know that, he lives with me. And one of the things he enjoys doing is his Saturday night out is to go to church. So I want to make sure he gets there, right? So basically, I take him to church. I take him down to the front row, which he likes that. There's two reasons he likes to go to the front row. Number one, he has trouble hearing and seeing. And number two, it gives him the impression that it's an intimate relationship between he and the pastor, the minister, the reverend, and the choir. In other words, he doesn't see the 200 people sitting behind him. So he believes this church to be a small, cozy environment for him. He likes that idea. So so I put him down front. I head to the kitchen. I drop off of a memory stick to the audio area, and they record the service and give it to me later, and I put it up online for him. I go into the coffee area, and Chuck makes the coffee. He makes the coffee for people who are going to have coffee and pastries after the service. So he's got everything laid out. It's perfect. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. The napkins are straight. The artificial sweetener is in all the right places. The spoons are everywhere. The coffee cups, styrofoam, those little tiny styrofoam coffee cups, So I get myself, 4 ounces at the most, 5 ounces maybe? So I get a cup of coffee, and Chuck watches me very carefully that I don't make any messes because he hates messes. Well, I do this every Sunday, and Chuck watches me every Sunday. So over the course of time, I've gotten to know Chuck, and Chuck's gotten to know me. So, he pretty much gave up because I'm going to get a cup of coffee, whether he likes it or not. So anyway, I'm in there on Sunday, and there's another guy in there that I've never seen before. His name is Bob. And Bob is leaning up against the cabinetry in the kitchen as I'm pouring my cup of coffee. And he says, "Hey, how you doing?" I go, "Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you? What's your name?" "Bob." "Okay, I'm Duncan." "Okay, yeah. How you doing?" Oh man. And Bob goes off into a fit about he just has to explode. He was kicked out of his house. Apparently, if I understand what he said, his wife passed away. He needed her income and his income to make ends meet. He apparently got behind on his payment for his shelter. It was either a house payment or rent or whatever he was doing. I'm assuming it was one of those. I wasn't clear on that. But anyway, he got behind, and they decided that he wasn't going to be able to catch up, and so apparently they evicted him or told him to get out or go away. So I got a feeling he was renting more than he was on a loan or a mortgage. So they gave him 2 weeks. Get out. You got 2 weeks. We don't want you here. And he's stewing and fretting about it. He says, I can't believe they would do that to me. They only give me 2 weeks to get out of the house. I mean, I got to have more time than that to get out of a house. You got to give me some time. But they kicked me out, and well, where did you go, Bob? What did you do? I mean, where did you end up? Well, I ended up in a senior citizen center. Now, how's that working out for you? Well, I don't like it. I want to be in a house. I understand that, but so you're okay with where you are? You're fine? Then I ask the bombshell question. How long you been at the senior citizens, Bob? Thinking he's been over there a week and a half, 2 weeks. Oh, this happened a year and a half ago. So as I'm pouring my coffee into my little styrofoam cup over my sweet and low that's swirling around in the bottom of it, I hold my tongue and I say to myself, a year and a half ago, this guy is this adamant about that action that happened a year and a half ago. And he's still this angry, this upset, this focused on the idea that he got kicked out of his shelter a year and a half ago because he couldn't make the monthly stroke. So I looked at him and I don't know what I asked him. I asked him a couple other questions just to kind of get an idea of, where he was at, what he was doing, what was going on. But it was obvious he wanted to live in the past. He wanted to focus on what had been done wrong to him for one reason or another, and he could not get away from or look at anything else other than what had happened to him a year and a half ago. And for me, as I stood there with the coffee, sipping on it, looking at him, focusing on the past, I thought to myself, I got to get away from you. You're not the kind of person that I need to have around me. You're negative. You're not living in today. You're not looking forward to anything. You're not going forward. In fact, what are you doing here in the kitchen? Why aren't you out in the congregation? All those things were swirling around in my mind, and I was being judgmental. We all got our struggles, all the things that we have to go through. So I had to get away from him. So I did. I went out into the area where I sit with Dad, and he was on my mind quite a bit. I couldn't get over how focused he was on living in the past. The next thing I want to talk to you about is something I read that was in a frame sitting up on a cabinet that I happened to stumble across. And do you have any friends that are a pain in the rear end? I mean, they're always complaining about something, that life is not right. I'm always sick. I never can get anything done correctly. The world is against me. I never get a fair shake. It's woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. There's probably somebody who that has that situation. And so, we try to, like Bob in the kitchen, you kind of have to move away from them. You don't want them in your life for very long because you rise and you fall to the level of the people you associate with. So if you decide you want to, pal around with people who do drugs, you'll probably end up doing drugs. If you pal around with people who are positive and upbeat with a good attitude toward life, that rubs off on you too. So you try to find the people that are around you. But we all have those people that we sort of know, and we wish that they would come out of their shell and quit worrying about what happened in the past and move forward. Anyway, I read this little article that I thought was interesting, and I want to read it for you now because it kind of sums up what happened to me on Sunday. It was spring, but it was summer I wanted. The warm days and the great outdoors. It was summer, and it was fall I wanted. The colorful leaves and the cool, dry air. It was fall, but it was winter I wanted. The beautiful snow and the holiday season. It was winter, but it was spring I wanted. The warmth and the blossom of nature. I was a child, but it was adulthood I wanted. The freedom and the respect. I was 20, but it was 30 I wanted. To be mature and sophisticated. I was middle-aged, but it was 20 I wanted. The youth and the free spirit. I was retired, but it was middle age I wanted. The presence of mind without limitations. My life was over, but I never got what I wanted. The rear view mirror in my car. Someone made the analogy to me a couple of days ago that life is like driving your automobile. You have this expansive windshield that you look at and you can see the shopping and the restaurants and the entertainment venues and restaurants and gas stations and whatever. This wide world is wide open to you as you go down the road. Your windshield is your life. You can focus on what's in front of you. Or you can look at that rear view mirror. That small little piece of glass that lets you look to the past. Do you know people like that? They got a chip on their shoulder. Every time you try to suggest something to them about being a little more positive in life, or you give up trying to tell them be more positive in life, you just can't get them to move away from looking in the past. Well, every time you get in the car, what I'd like for you to do from now on is look at the rear view mirror. And remember that life is ahead of you, not behind you. Yes, all of us, my age, 10,000 a day, are turning 65 and more. My dad is 97. That means I've got, what have I got left? 20, 25, 30 years left of my life? That's a whole life. So quit looking in the rearview mirror. Look out the front windshield of life. And that's all I got to say today. And I'm done for today. Top of the morning to you. And I'll take the rest of the day for myself. Bye.